Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of the capital city of Budapest in Hungary. Yes, evidently that is this region's official name. I got a lot of people when I was in the B's saying, "You forgot Budapest." And it was like, I didn't. It's officially capital city of Budapest. So that's where it was slotted to be. Not terribly far off from the BUs anyway. So all works out in the end. Let's talk about beautiful Budapest, the queen of the Danube. But real quick, I know I'm saying Budapest. I know it's Budapest. I know that's how it's pronounced. My policy on my channel is that I'm pronouncing everything in American English because that's the language I speak. It would get kind of chaotic if I pronounced everything how it was pronounced there. You know, I'd be saying Deutschland for Germany and Paris for Paris. You know, it's too much. So I'm pronouncing everything like how it's pronounced in the language I speak. So we say Budapest. Although I will say that Budapest is technically two cities combined, and one is called Buda and the other is called Pest. So I'll give you that. I hope that doesn't irritate too many people, but I hope that's a compromise, to be honest. There's also a third. There's Obuda. We'll talk about Obuda as well. That's in the north up here. You know, I don't want anyone actually-ing the pronunciation or geography of Budapest. We say Budapest, it's two cities, but technically three, but it's two cities. Let's leave it at that. There's also an island in the Danube, Margaret Island, which is a big park. It's really beautiful. Of course, we'll look at everything on Google Earth after we go over the history of Budapest. Geographically, Budapest lies in an interesting little spot here in Central Europe. To the north here are the Carpathian Mountains. They make this big hook shape that goes up from Hungary and then swoops down through Romania, which is just next door here. So right at the edge of the Carpathians and right before you hit that swoop is this flat area known as the Great Hungarian Plain, or the Great Hungarian Basin also. Very flat, beautiful land juxtaposed to these big mountains up here. And Budapest is kind of right where those two areas meet, along the Danube River. And this is another example of this is a series, by the way, if you're just joining me on this video. It's a series we go over. I've done other regions in Hungary. Actually, I'll link my Hungary playlist up there if you want to see me cover some of the other counties in Hungary. But I always say when it's just a city that I'm talking about, there's not much geography to say when it comes to just a city, even a big old city like Budapest. In terms of landmarks and buildings and all of that, we'll look at those on Google Earth. So, before we jump into history, let's talk about how many areas of Budapest are part of one big UNESCO site. Let me grab my tablet and read about it. It's called Budapest, including the banks of the Danube, the Buda Castle Quarter, and Andrassy Avenue. It's just a little short paragraph here. It says the site has the remains of monuments such as the Roman city of Aquincum and the Gothic castle of Buda, which have had a considerable influence on the architecture of various periods. It is one of the world's outstanding urban landscapes and illustrates the great periods in the history of the Hungarian capital. And let's take a look at some of the buildings here. My internet has decided to stop working. I see the little Exclamation point by my Wi-Fi there. So 1 second. Oh, there it goes. Never mind. We made it. It's back. The arrows are back. Okay. My goodness. If that's not an omen, I don't know what. It's taking a long time to load again. Let's see. Let's see what we can find. The cathedrals, monuments, so on. We'll look at them on Google Earth. How about that? We're not going to worry about that. And then, of course, it loads. We'll use my stylus that just fell off. Let's see. Yeah, the monuments area. And the pictures didn't even look. Okay, that is a sign of some chaos to come. I don't enjoy that. I try to very carefully script these videos. And then whenever I hit record, it all falls apart. So let's just get into the history of Budapest here before anything else goes off the rails. The first people to settle in what's now Budapest were the ancient Celts. They lived on both sides of the river. Eventually, the Romans would come and take over this area, and they would only settle on one side, on this side. And like it said, on UNESCO established the town of Aquincum sometime by the 1st century CE. The river here was part of their frontier border. They did not manage to conquer that side of the river. And eventually Aquincum would become the seat of the Pannonia Inferior province for the Roman Empire. But of course, the Roman frontier was not to last. It would be eventually invaded, and the Romans all pushed out. The first people to conquer this area after the Romans were the Huns, followed by the Visigoths, followed by the Avars, and I believe it was the Avars who established Óbuda and Pest, I believe. Óbuda on the ruins of Aquincum. After them would have been the Bulgarians, actually. So it was part of the Kingdom of Bulgaria. And then the Magyars would come, the descendants of today's Hungarians. They would come through and establish Buda to juxtapose Óbuda, old Buda. Buda at that time, though, was just like a palace fortress complex. It wasn't a town like Pest over here, which wasn't part of their area. I think they claimed it, but it wasn't officially, their zone. They were in their safe walled castle. But that would not protect them from the Mongols who would come through in the year 1241, obliterating everything as they went by, especially Pest. In 1247, the king at the time, I think it was Bela IV, I believe, said, "This will never happen again. We're going to build big, strong walls around Buda, and we're going to protect Pest as well. Even though they're not part of us, they kind of are in a way. They're close enough. Let's protect them as well." And this would start the medieval period of Budapest. And that era of prosperity, education, architecture, the arts, things like that. The height of the medieval period into the Renaissance, especially during the reign of Matthias Corvinus, who was the Hungarian king from 1458 to 1490. His wife was Beatrice of Naples, therefore she was Italian. She brought a lot of the Italian court with her, bringing those Renaissance ideas with them, along with concepts of Italian architecture, becoming the next big shift in really like the beautification of the Buda area, that Italian Renaissance style there. But that would not last. In 1541, the Ottomans would invade Buda and conquer it, and Pest. They would invade the whole thing. They would take over all of Hungary by this time, after the Battle of Mohács, a few years prior to that. And the Ottomans would control the city and Hungary until 1686, when the Austrians formed like a little crusade and managed to push the Ottomans out. It took them a couple times, but through a series of battles, they managed to push the Ottomans out of the entirety of Hungary and, of course, claim it for themselves. Austria, you can see today, is just over here, its neighbor. Very important to its history. This would start a new era, mainly for Buda. The castle would get all modernized for the time and fixed up for the Habsburg royals there. Pest, not so much. It was very rural. It was definitely separate at that time. There was a disaster in 1838 when the Danube overflowed. Both sides flooded, but Pest was pretty much drowned entirely. It was pretty destroyed at that time, leading to a little rebuilding period over there. The revolutions of 1848 swept across Europe. 1848 was a very turbulent year in Europe and in Hungary and in Buda and in Pest as well. The revolution really got the Hungarian population here being like, listen, we're not German, we're not Austrian. The people ruling us don't represent us. They're not us, we want to be a Hungarian country. We want independence. We want a national identity as Hungarians, as the Magyars, So that started that revolution. It was put down by the Habsburgs. And even though they lost the battle, they didn't really lose the war, so to say. They would keep pushing that agenda. And during that, the city would keep growing and changing and modernizing after this time. In 1849, the Chain Bridge, or the Széchenyi Bridge, was built over the river, linking both settlements for the first time. First steps toward unifying these two areas. So the Hungarians want their own thing. The Habsburgs over in Austria, over in Vienna, definitely don't. But it reaches a point where the Habsburgs can't ignore it anymore. They come to an agreement in 1867 and decide to create Austria-Hungary. One country, two names. One's a kingdom, one's an empire. Both reigned by the Holy Roman Emperor in Vienna. And technically over here in Buda as well as like a little secondary capital, the empire. They would finally officially unite both areas in 1873, creating Budapest. Perfect name. Creating a new metropolitan area, a new thriving city. And this would be like another great leap in terms of culture, architecture, lifestyle, food, entertainment, transportation. All of it. It was the beautiful time to be in Budapest in the end of the 19th century. It all culminated in 1896 with a big celebration of 1,000 years since the Magyars arrived here. There's a big celebration. Monuments were opened. That's when they opened Heroes Square and beautified a lot of the city, a lot of the roads, and opened underground, a subway system, as we say in America, and all of those modern amenities. Meanwhile, the population was also booming as the city grew and grew. Before the city was, or both areas were pretty German for the most part. It became more and more Hungarian, especially during this time. And also a very large Jewish population grew here in the city. During this time, during all of this beautification, they would build a big synagogue, one of the biggest in the world today, and the biggest one in Europe today. We'll take a look at it on Google Earth, of course, but I also did a channel member video about the synagogue. I found a book at the library that was just about the synagogue in Budapest, so I read that for the channel members. You can check that out on my channel membership page. However, this period would end by World War I. The Austro-Hungarian Empire would collapse. Hungary was in a bit of chaos, various groups jostling for power, including the Romanians. Most of Hungary was cut apart during this and sent off to other countries. That would culminate by the start of World War II, with Hungary siding with Nazi Germany because they promised to bring all of it back together and bring Hungary back to what it once was. I just realized they were going to make Hungary great again, right? Exactly that. That was the promise. So they allied with the Axis powers during World War II, which led to some disastrous results in Budapest. Number one, the Jewish population, right, was very heavily targeted during this time. The Arrow Cross Party was the Nazi party in Hungary, essentially. I was like, how do I say this to make it YouTube friendly? You really can't. They were the fascist party in Hungary. By the time Germany pretty much invaded and took over Hungary, they let the Arrow Cross Party be in charge of the country, and that led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Jewish people and many different horrific ways that we won't get into in this video because this is a relaxation video. And also we're on YouTube, where stories like that will get this video demonetized, and this is how I make my living, so we won't get into that tonight. If you know the stories, you know the stories. We'll mention a little bit of it when we look at Google Earth. Also, the city was bombed in 1944, beginning in 1944. It began to be bombed by the Allied powers. In 1945, the Soviets were invading from the east and fought the Battle of Budapest in order to liberate the city from the Nazi Germans. During that battle, many prominent landmarks were destroyed, such as the castle. The chain bridge was destroyed except for the lions. They're still around. It's still around today. The city was pretty destroyed and had to be rebuilt, which with the Soviets, who invaded and took over and said, cool, this is ours now, got to rebuild parts of the city. They restored a lot, but start another wave of architecture and culture that was very Soviet inspired. All of those big Soviet statues that are so famous, the blocky buildings, all of that. And so began Hungary's Soviet bloc period, which Hungary, it wasn't that bad in Hungary, but it's still bad. It was worse in many other places, but Hungary was considered the more liberal area of the Soviet bloc behind the Iron Curtain. They got a lot more liberties than others, but that doesn't mean they had total freedom. They were still very much controlled by the USSR. There was a large revolution in 1956 with the push for Imre Nagy to become the new leader, and that did not work out. There was a chance it could have the Soviets squashed it, but they would slowly lose power throughout the 1980s and would completely dissolve by 1991, pulling out of Hungary by then and ending that era. Hungarian politics are a bit Viktor Orbán-y, I suppose. It's a bit amalgamous, it's a bit divisive. But I could say the same thing about my country right now, I suppose. It's almost a similar situation. But in pertaining to Budapest, the city, I would say, is having another kind of glory time. Budapest is considered one of like the top tier A+ cities of Europe and the world, to be honest. I know many people who've been there and said it was one of the best cities they've ever visited. I've heard nothing but lovely stories. It's really hard to find people having a terrible time in Budapest, at least from, what I've heard. Bela and Bebe, hello, hello. Those are some of our family cats here on the channel. We have cats all over the world. We have 2 in Budapest. And it just seems like a beautiful, wonderful city today, to be honest. So that is the history of Budapest. In a nutshell, I could have gone way more in depth, to be honest, but that's it in a nutshell. The Cliff Notes version of the history of Budapest. Let me grab my tablet. We have a lot to look at. We're going to run through some of the important sites of Budapest, and hopefully my tablet won't be too icky. It was awfully icky during the UNESCO segment. If you've seen any of my other videos this week, Google Earth had this great update that broke one of the features. So that's a problem. But that is where we're going to start the next segment with those caveats in mind. So let me get the tablet over here. Let me hit the lights and let's look at Budapest on Google Earth. Here we are in Budapest, capital city of Budapest, right? Officially this area here, everything else outside it is Pest County, I believe. Talk about that another day. But let's zoom out so you can see exactly where we are in the world. Here, I'll show you the Great Hungarian Plain here. You can see all through here, the Great Hungarian Plain, and here's the Carpathian Mountains, or Carpathians, depending on where you are in the world, swooping through Romania. It's very easy to find Romania and Budapest on a map like this because you just look for the mountains. There's Romania in the hook there. Budapest is right at this end of it. And of course, we are surrounded by Slovakia, Austria, Slovenia, Croatia, Serbia, Romania, and Ukraine. Hungary is landlocked here in Central Europe. I always think of Central Europe being like this zone, right? Over here is Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Central Europe, and then the Balkans, so on and so forth. Many different regions of Europe. But yeah, let's look at Budapest. Where should we start? Where would one start? I guess the castle, right? The palace, I should say, because there's a difference between a castle and a palace. Also, the city is in glorious 3D. We'll wait for it to load. My internet went out again. 1 second. All right, that's better. I turned on my hotspot, so I'm connected to that. But yes, the city is in glorious 3D here on Google Earth. Here's the Széchenyi Bridge, the chain bridge, linking Pest and Buda. But yeah, let's start here at the palace. It's a huge complex. There's a lot of museums and things inside. But let's just look at Buda Castle. Whatever. It is a palace complex, right? Yeah, it's pretty glorious, isn't it? Very like imperial style with the wonderful neoclassical columns. There's the bridge there. I was about to say palatial, but obviously it's palatial. It's a palace. Yeah. Maria Theresa lived here. When she ruled the Habsburgs, the Holy Roman Empire, it very much looks like a place she would be comfortable in, I should say. But yeah, there's a whole bunch in here that we're actually not going to get into because it's so much. As always, I highly recommend that you poke around Budapest in your own time and find some of the treasures here. Look, there's a labyrinth. There's all kinds. There's the museum over there. We need to find, is it this? Yeah, the Fisherman's Bastion, which is part of that error. So let me, this is so aggravating. Restart the app real quick. Oh my gosh, it doesn't even want to restart. Poor thing. Here we go. And boom. It'll get fixed soon, I hope. Fisherman's Bastion. Honestly, I think this is my favorite building in the city. It's so cool. I love the wizard top there. I love the stairs. I love the white, I assume it's marble it's made out of. It's a neat little building here. And it's so pretty at night. To me, that's more castle than anything. It's got to be the pointy towers. So yeah, lots of, and all the churches around it, of course, in Old Buda. Inside of the church here. It's so pretty. So it's that neat little juxtaposition, right, of the palace we just looked at versus this style of architecture. Just part of the mishmash of Budapest's architecture. Also, on this side, we have the citadel, which was built by the Habsburgs after the Hungarian Revolution on Gellert Hill. It's got cool monuments there now. It's a nice view. Wow, big statues. There's the citadel. Meant to keep an eye on those pesky Hungarians. But yeah. Gosh, there's a lot to show you over here. Lots of cool museums. Here's Margaret Island there. And if we slide over here, we'll see Óbuda. Over here, you can see the ruins of an amphitheater from Aquincum from the Roman times. Interesting. There's a couple of little Roman sites around here. That's cute. It's definitely not from Roman times. Oh, they're having some kind of reenactment there. That's pretty cool. It's neat from above. But if we hop down here somewhere, we can find the Aquincum Museum. I don't remember where it is. I just know it's south of here. I hope it's south of here. What if it's north? There's so many neat museums. We're not going to really look at many of them. Oh, I forgot where it is. It's somewhere over here. It's in Óbuda, right? Gotta be. I can always just type it in, but I feel like I'm close. I feel like I shouldn't give up, but I'm going to. Let's see. Aquincum Neighborhood Museum. We'll look at this. Oh, it was way farther north. Never mind. I was so off. But yeah, you can see some Romany bits out here. What's left of it. Here's the Aquincum Museum. And the exterior there, little open air segment. Pretty neat. Wow, that's interesting. I'm not sure what that is. The old map there. See on both sides of the river. They established like the main center and then the frontier town area. Wait, didn't I say the Romans didn't get both sides? No, I think it was okay. I lied. I lied in the history. They did build on the second side. That's right. But it was just like a little settlement to try to fortify their frontier line, is what it was. This was the main Aquincum area, though. My bad. I hope I don't get actually too hard in the comments. My goodness. All right. So that's some of the main sites of Buda. I suppose I could also show you while we're over on this side something else that's neat, but I also have to remember where it is. It's over here. A memento park of old Soviet statues. So they just dug out all the statues. That looks like Lenin right there. and just plopped him. Yep, there he is. There's Vladimir. And just plopped them in this park to kind of rust away, as you can see. So I think that's an appropriate thing to do. Instead of leaving all of these statues up, just toss old Lenin in the park here, let him get all rained on and snowed on, and just kind of let these crumble away while still remembering what once was. That's very Soviet-y right there. It reminds me of that level in GoldenEye. Anyway, if you know, you know. Let's head over to Pest. Let's cross the river. Let's go over the bridge. Wait. It's not the right bridge. I mean, that is a bridge, but we want to do... Oh, I went too far south. That's right. We want to do the bridge. This bridge. The chain bridge, or the Szechenyi bridge, or the Szechenyi chain bridge, which kind of reminds me of the Brooklyn Bridge with these kind of arcs there, and how it's all lit up. Very pretty. Of course, this was all rebuilt after World War II, like most of the city. A big barge going down the Danube. Someday I'll do a Danube River cruise and get to see this in person. Someday. Is there a picture of the lions here? No, okay. Oh, there's I didn't show you the little funicular that goes up. You can see the bridge there. So on the Buddhist side, you can ride this guy if you don't want to climb the little hills over there to get to the palace and everything up there. I did not mention him. And then we head over here to Pest, which is very different architecturally. There's St. Stephen's Basilica. St. Stephen is we went again. Hold on a second while I explain. St. Stephen is like the patron saint of the Hungarians. He was the first Hungarian king. Definitely the most important figure in Christianity here. St. Stephen's Basilica, the first king of Hungary. And this is a gorgeous building. The exterior, maybe we'll get to see the interior. There we go. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Every little detail. Oh my goodness. And I love the colors too. The red and gold is a good match there. That dark red, maroon. Gorgeous building. And as you can see from above here, just how different the architectural style is from the other side. Much more modernized, right? You can see some beautiful old classical buildings here. Academy over there looking very classical, but much more modern-y style as you go along. All these big straight roads. Andrassy Street, that's like one of the main streets there. We'll go down it in a minute and I'll show you what's at the end. But yes, much more, modern. While we're over here, let's hop down to, let's go from the church to the synagogue. I've got it tapped on there because I knew that would happen. It did the thing again. 1 second. 1 second. So yes, this is the largest synagogue in Europe. My plan didn't work. But it's also a gorgeous building. Look at all the lamps. Look at the beautiful floor tiles there. So lovely. Pretty. Those must sound amazing, those big organ pipes. This is I'm going to say it once, and hopefully if I say it too many times I won't get struck. This is a Holocaust memorial, with each leaf of this willow representing someone who lost their life during that event from Budapest. It's really pretty. It looks like rain. There's another memorial I'll show you next. There's everyone all seated. And it's just a really beautiful building. Let me see if I can find it. It's over here by the Parliament building, right? I think it's right here, to be honest. I think I just nailed it. Yeah, I sure did. And look at that. Once again. So this is commemorating an event during World War II. During that time that I mentioned before with the tree that I can't say too many times, or YouTube won't like it. This was an event where people were taken to this point, and let's say that was all that was left of them after the fact. So these shoes here represent those who stood here in their last moments. It's very profound. Yeah. It's very poignant, isn't it? But while we're over here, let's check out the Parliament building. See it in 3D. Da-da-da. It's fun to have 3D. I wish they had more of Google Earth in 3D. It's fun to play around. The Parliament. Da-da-da. Actually, let's look at this slideshow. Because, yeah. Hungarian Parliament building. I think this is the better slideshow. We just want to look at the building. It's really pretty. It's like a castle in and of itself, isn't it? Pretty iconic. There's the interior. Looking a bit Gothic up there in the ceiling. There's the Parliament of Hungary. Very pretty building. That's where everything happens here in Hungary. All right, let's see what's at the end of Andrassy Street. There's some surprises down there. Let's find it. Right here. Yeah. Let's see. There's the streets. You see, oh, there's a slideshow for Andrassy Street. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, how pretty. All lit up. Looks like we're zooming through. Where's my pencil? There we go. I can point things out. You can see the Budapest eye back there. Very much like the London eye. And all of the pretty doors and buildings alongside it. But let's go down, 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 down. And see. Ta-ta. Ta-ta. Oh, of course. 1 second. Let's see what's at the end of the street that they built, commemorating 1,000 years of Magyar occupation, which I'm pretty sure that's not how you say it in Hungarian. That's how you say it in English, Magyar. It's Heroes Square. And it's beautiful. I feel like there's so many pretty monuments like this in the world. What does it remind you of? We'll look at that in a second. Ooh, all snowy. And there's lots of beautiful buildings around here. And gorgeous statues as well. But yeah, I feel like I'm like, what does this remind me of? And there's like 10 different places it reminds me of. But it's gorgeous, isn't it? It looks like they do ice skating in the winter. Pencil back out. They've got all the heroes lined up. And yeah, then we have the museums around here. Here's another cool castle, which looks like, oh, that's a great castle. It's a pretty good looking castle there. Neat architecture there in the park. And then over here we have a huge outdoor thermal bath, the Széchenyi thermal bath, the largest medicinal bath in Europe. One is 74 degrees Celsius, one's 77 degrees Celsius. If you're an American like me, that's very hot. That is hot, hot, hot. That's crazy hot. That's like 120-ish. But I bet it feels amazing, especially in the winter time. I bet it feels great. And it's this gorgeous, luxurious building here. Oh, I bet that feels amazing. I bet it gets crowded. I bet you have to get here early. Oh, at night, I bet it feels amazing. Oh my gosh. A little private bath he's having. And yeah. Gorgeous, gorgeous building here. Look at this bath. It's like a swimming pool. I mean, the others are like swimming pools too, but they're like big, pretty fountains, to be honest. And yep, you just sit and steam and relax in the hot water. The zoo is over here. The big, beautiful park is over here. There's a lot to see. There's a lot going on here. All right. I'm trying to remember, what else did I have to show you? I guess we can look at the Hungarian National Museum. If we were to look at a museum, of course, in another Beautiful palatial building here. Beautiful art. Statues of Joseph Stalin, I guess. Beautiful woodworking here. It's definitely from like a church area. Like, I want to say the choir area, but then I see like these little kneeling areas. I'm not sure. Cool knight armor. Oh yeah, these are seats. They're not. Those are maybe thrones. Oh, that's cool too. Sleeping knight there. A beautiful court dress with all the flounces and cool instruments as well. Look at this. Is that a harpsichord? I'm not sure. I like the little music room here. Amazing. There's, of course, a long history of musicians here. There's Liszt, Bartok, many others. Look at the cool motorcycle there. Probably like a World War One, World War Two. I'm not sure. 20th century, let's say. There's museums for all the musicians as well, but we're not gonna go in depth. I think that was all the things. I was like, make sure you show them those things because I think those are the coolest things. But let's find something else to look at. Let's hop back over to the Buddha side. Let's see this. Oh, Money Museum. Yeah, we don't need to see the Money Museum, even though that is cool. That's Buddha Castle. Oh, duh. The Citadel. I guess we can look at this. Oh, the caves. We go up here. There's scary caves. I mean, maybe this is a scary cave. Oh, that's the observatory. That's pretty neat, actually. Ooh. So cool. Let me know, you guys, if you want me to do some more space videos. Where'd all the scary caves go? It'd help if I knew the Hungarian word for cave. Whoa, that's a cool tower. Okay, I guess that means watchtower. How about this? That's Lion Rock. Whoa, that looks great. That is a lion, isn't it? What happened to all the caves? I found so many caves up here. Anyway, let me know if you want more space videos. I know some people request it and then they don't get any views. So, I love talking about space. I've already tapped that one. Maybe this. Oh. That's a scary cave. I don't want to go down there. All the twisty trees too. This place is haunted. This place, there's something supernatural. I'm not talking about ghosts. I'm talking about like fairies and creatures and things. I'm talking something mythological is happening here. Ooh. Don't you get those vibes? Yeah, I would poke around here every once in a while and be like, oh, never mind. There's a terrifying cave up here. Let's see what this is. Oh. Eee. Would you go in there? I don't think I would. No. No, thank you. I will not go in the cave. Anyway, there's scary caves up there. If you want to go find more, be my guest. I'm getting the creeps up there. There's definitely some kind of energy there that I don't quite like. It's saying keep away. Anyway, I was going to tap on this. The reserve. It doesn't want to go. So let me do this one more time. And I think we'll end the video here, to be honest. I think I got everything that I wanted to say about Budapest. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I'll be kicking myself. But we'll end it here. And there's a lot more in Pest I could have shown you, to be honest. But how about this? If you've been to Budapest, drop below your favorite places to see and hang out, and we'll all go check it out ourselves on Google Earth. How about that? I could have shown you more bridges. We could have looked at more museums. This place is pretty neat. Look at this. let's end the video here. Thank you so much, so much for watching. If you enjoyed this style of content, please consider subscribing. Like I said at the top, I'm doing all the regions of the world in alphabetical order. This is a long series. We're in the C's, the CA's, the capital part. We did the capital of Bahrain yesterday, the capital of Hungary today. We've got one more capital, a place called Capital Territory, I believe. Yeah, I think it's called Capital Territory. But it's on the other side of the globe. And we're going to talk about a capital city that really doesn't get talked about a lot, even though it was the site of a very, very famous battle in history. Do you know what it was? Do you know where we're going? Leave your guesses in the comments too. That's an interesting little flower there. Anyway, please don't forget to like this video. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. If you're watching this in the first 3 days of its upload and you're on mobile, you can hype this video now if you have hype points. I would appreciate that as well. That was also a new free way to help me boost my videos in the algorithm. Let's just look at like the town slideshow. Oh, it said we can't. 1 second. Last time. Maybe by this weekend, this will be fixed because it's very annoying. It's probably just me too. It's probably just my tablet. Yeah, let's take a look at the big slideshow while I whisper this outro to you. I hope that you found this video